Imagine being a mother, walking with your baby, when suddenly officers unleash vicious canine dogs on you, without warning, without cause. What happens next is a story of resilience, courage, and justice that will leave you speechless. Stay until the end, because you'll see how one woman turned her pain into power and destroyed the lives of those who tried to break her. Before we dive in, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss stories that expose truth, justice, and raw human strength. The morning sun filtered through the trees of Oak Ridge Park, casting long golden beams on the cracked sidewalks where families often walked, jogged, or simply took in the peaceful air of a small suburban town. For Jasmine Carter, a 28-year-old black woman, this park had become her refuge, a place where she could walk with her 6-month-old daughter, Amara, and breathe without the constant weight of life's pressures pressing against her chest. Jasmine had grown up here, though the town carried a dual identity. On the surface, it looked like a quiet, middle-class suburb, but just beneath, it simmered with unspoken tensions, racial divides, and a police department notorious for its heavy-handed tactics toward people of color. On that day, Jasmine wasn't thinking about injustice, or danger, or confrontation. She was only thinking about the soft giggles of her baby wrapped in a pink blanket, nestled in a stroller that squeaked with every push, and the feeling of a rare peaceful morning where, at least for a little while, she could believe the world was good. But peace can vanish in an instant, and for Jasmine, it shattered when 2 police cruisers suddenly pulled up along the edge of the park, tires screeching against pavement, engines growling like predators circling prey. She slowed her pace, confused, looking around to see if perhaps there had been an accident or if someone else was being targeted, but within seconds, the doors slammed open and 2 white officers stepped out, their hands resting casually on their belts, eyes narrowed not at the park, not at other people passing by, but directly at her. "You there," one of them barked, his voice carrying the sharpness of command more than conversation. "Stop where you are." Jasmine froze, her hand instinctively gripping the stroller handle tighter as her baby stirred inside. "What's wrong? Is something happening?" she asked, her voice steady but cautious, because like many black women, she had been conditioned by both experience and the stories of others to know that tone mattered, that body language mattered, that every gesture could mean the difference between walking away or not. "Don't move," the other officer snapped. Without further explanation, the first officer gave a hand signal toward the back seat of the cruiser, and Jasmine's heart seized in her chest as the door popped open. An AK-9 unit, 2 German shepherds with snarling mouths, straining against their leashes, lunged out, barking ferociously, their teeth flashing in the morning sun. The sound was primal, terrifying, a sound designed to strip a human being of composure. Jasmine stepped back instinctively, her stroller wheels catching on a crack in the pavement, and she raised her free hand in fear. "Wait, what are you doing? My baby's here. What is this?" she pleaded, her voice rising in panic. But her words were like air against stone. The officers moved closer, the dogs surging forward, the leashes barely restraining them. "We got a report of a suspicious person," one officer said with a sneer. "You fit the description. Stop resisting and comply." Suspicious. The word burned her. She was walking with her baby. Suspicious of what? Her skin, her presence, her existence. The dogs barked louder, lunging. So close that she could feel flecks of their spit hitting her legs. Amara began to cry, a shrill, desperate cry that cut through Jasmine's soul. "Please," she begged, her voice breaking now. "Don't let those dogs near my child. Please, she's just a baby." But her pleas only fueled their cruelty. With a deliberate motion, one officer loosened the leash just enough to let one of the dogs surge closer. Its teeth snapped inches from Jasmine's calf, and she screamed, jerking the stroller back, her heart pounding as adrenaline surged through her veins. For 10 endless minutes, they circled her, unleashed hatred disguised as law enforcement, dogs lunging and barking, officers taunting and smirking as if her fear was entertainment. The world around her blurred. Joggers had stopped in the distance, families hesitated with phones in their hands but too afraid to intervene, the sound of her baby's sobs echoing in her ears like daggers. 10 minutes. 10 minutes of terror. 10 minutes where time stretched into eternity and the fragility of life balanced on the edge of fangs and cruelty. But what the officers didn't know, what they couldn't possibly anticipate, was that Jasmine Carter was not a woman easily broken. Behind her soft eyes and gentle spirit was a core of steel, forged through years of surviving systemic injustice, microaggressions, poverty, and loss. She had buried her father when she was just 12, lost to a heart attack after being harassed by the same department that now tormented her. She had watched her brother thrown into jail for a crime he didn't commit, held for months before the truth came out. She had studied law not in a classroom, but in life, reading books, attending community meetings, learning her rights because she had to. And in that moment of terror, something inside her shifted. Fear transformed into resolve, pain into power. She held her ground, locked eyes with the officer closest to her, and said through trembling but defiant lips, "You're going to regret this." That night, after the incident, Jasmine didn't sleep. Instead, she called a lawyer she knew from the community, a civil rights attorney named Marcus Hayes, a man who had built his career taking on police departments across the state. She handed him the evidence, because while she had stood frozen in the park, others had not. Several bystanders had recorded the entire encounter, their phones capturing the dogs, the officer's smirks, the screams of a baby, the cruelty displayed in broad daylight. The footage spread like wildfire within hours, shared across social media, posted on community pages, reaching activists and journalists hungry for stories that exposed injustice. By morning, the video had gone viral, millions of views, hashtags flooding the internet, hashtag justice for Jasmine, hashtag protect black mothers, hashtag no justice no peace. And by noon, the story was no longer local. It was national. The police department scrambled to respond, issuing statements filled with half-truths and justifications, claims that the officers had acted on credible suspicion, that the dogs were controlled, that no physical harm had occurred. But the footage told the truth, and the truth was undeniable. Jasmine Carter, the woman they tried to humiliate, to intimidate, to silence, became the face of resistance overnight. With Marcus Hayes by her side, she filed a lawsuit so massive, so meticulously crafted, that it shook the foundation of the department. They didn't just sue the officers, they sued the city, the mayor, the police chief, the K-9 unit supervisor. Every person in the chain of command who had allowed a culture of fear and racism to thrive became a target of accountability. Courtrooms filled with reporters. Protesters flooded the steps of City Hall, chanting her name, demanding justice. And as the legal battle raged, more stories surfaced, other black families who had been terrorized by the same department, others too afraid to speak until Jasmine stood tall. Her bravery gave them courage. Her fight became their fight. And one by one, the department's secrets unraveled. Internal memos leaked showing officers encouraged to show dominance in minority neighborhoods. Training manuals revealed outdated, brutal tactics. Records of complaints buried, ignored, dismissed. Every revelation fed the firestorm. After months of relentless exposure, after weeks of depositions and testimony, after countless nights where Jasmine juggled motherhood and the fight for justice, the verdict came. The jury ruled in her favor. The city was ordered to pay tens of millions in damages, one of the largest settlements in state history. The two officers who unleashed the dogs were fired and stripped of pensions. The police chief resigned under pressure. Federal investigations opened into the entire department. The empire they built on intimidation crumbled in less than a year. Jasmine, once the woman trembling before snarling dogs, had ruined their lives, not through violence, not through vengeance, but through truth, resilience, and the unshakable will of a mother who refused to let her baby grow up in a world where this could happen without consequence. And when reporters asked her how she found the strength, she simply looked at her daughter in her arms and said, "I had no choice. I wasn't just fighting for me. I was fighting for her future." The story didn't end there, because her victory rippled outward. Cities across the country reevaluated their K-9 policies, activists used her case as a rallying cry, and mothers everywhere saw in her a mirror of their own fears and hopes. Jasmine became a speaker, a leader, a symbol of change. And though the scars of that morning in Oak Ridge Park never fully left her, they became her armor, proof that even in the face of terror, even when the odds seemed impossible, one woman could stand up, fight back, and change everything. This story isn't just about one woman. It's about a movement, about resilience, and about the truth that no matter how dark the world becomes, justice can shine through when we stand together. If Jasmine's fight inspired you, don't let her story end here. Share this video, leave a powerful comment, and hit subscribe so more voices can be heard. more stories can be told, and more walls of injustice can crumble. The fight for justice continues, and your support makes the difference.